Hello, I'm Kelly with Empowered Mama Fitness, here to walk you through a hip opening sequence. So one thing that I would ask is that you listen to your body as we go through the moves today. If anything feels good, just don't do it. The other thing is that we use a lot of props in prenatal yoga, so I have a couple of blocks. Books work well if you don't have yoga blocks. I have a blanket under my hips right now. A beach towel or a bath towel will work just as well. And then depending how far along you are in your pregnancy, you might want some additional support in the form of a bolster or a couch pillow. So if you need to grab those things, feel free to pause and grab them now. Otherwise, join me on your mat. Sit on your blanket, on your towel, so that you're elevating your hips over your knees. This makes more room for your belly. Place your hands on your knees, close your eyes, and just start to bring awareness to your breath. Breathing normally in and out. On your next inhale, rock your body forward so that you're bringing your torso closer to the ground, closer to your legs. On your exhale, push back, round your upper back, bring your chin to your chest. Inhale forward and exhale back, starting to loosen up our hips, bringing some mobility to our spine. Inhale forward and start to bring your body to the right side. Exhale back and left, making clockwise motions with your upper body. Starting to loosen tight muscles, or what we call fascia, in our torso. Reverse that, so we're now flowing counterclockwise. This is something that's great to do throughout your day, not necessarily just on your mat. If you have a break during work or before bed, maybe first thing when you wake up, just start this rocking motion. Also great as you move closer to labor and birth. Come back to a casual or neutral seated position. Keep your eyes closed, and we're just going to work on what we call Ujjayi breaths. So this is inhaling and exhaling through your nose. But with each exhale, we actually want to engage our core. So just to practice a few times, bring your hands onto your rib cage. Inhale, feel your rib cage expand, and exhale, feel it fall and close back into its natural position. Inhale, open, almost like an umbrella. Exhale, close. Bring your hands down to your stomach. Again, feel that expand on the inhale and fall on the exhale. Inhale. On this next exhale, I actually want you to incorporate your abdominal muscles to almost corset your organs and your baby, giving your baby a hug. And using this breath as we move through different motions, keeping you safe and comfortable. All right, feel free to open your eyes, bring your hands back to your knees. Take a deep inhale, arms up over your head, hands to touch. Exhale down into heart center. Inhale, interlace your fingers, and exhale, push them away, rounding your upper back, chin to your chest. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, let everything twist over to the right side. Now, again, listen to your body. If you only twist a little bit, perfectly fine. If at any point your left hip comes off the blanket or your mat, that's letting you know you're twisting too much. If you want to go deeper though, option to twist your neck, looking over your right shoulder. Inhale, arms come up, turning back to the center, hands to touch. Exhale, down to heart center. Inhale, interlace your fingers. Exhale, push. Inhale, sit up tall. And exhale, let everything twist over to the left. One side may feel much better than the other. Again, just listen to your body. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, down. Now you can definitely use that blanket, use that towel that you have to help cushion your knees as we move into a tabletop position. So I'm going to leave my blanket on my mat, just unfold it so that I have a little bit of cushion for my knees. Come into tabletop with your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders. And let's just work through a few cat-cows. So on your next inhale, starburst your chest forward, look up. Be mindful of the sway in your lower back. Exhale, push the mat away. Tuck your tailbone under, chin to chest. Work through a few of these at your own pace. And join me back in a neutral tabletop. On your next exhale, step your left foot out to the side so that your left heel is in line with your right knee. Now on your next exhale, send your body weight over towards your left knee into a side lunge. Inhale, coming back onto your right knee. Exhaling, lunging. Inhaling up. One more time, just like that. If you need to play with the placement of your foot, feel free to do so. And if that feels good, stay there. Otherwise, option to bring your hips over your heels and move your upper body in a clockwise position. Asymmetrical moves like this are great in labor and birth as you work the baby's head down the birth canal. Something to keep in mind. Switch positions if you're moving with me into a counterclockwise movement. And come back into neutral. On your next exhale, return your left knee into tabletop. Take a deep inhale and exhale your right foot out. Again, looking at the placement, placing your heel in line with your knee, at least to start, and then playing with it as you lunge out and back in. Utilizing that breath that we learned at the beginning to hug your baby in, engage your core. Feel free to stay there or move in a clockwise formation. Reverse that into the other way. Come back to a neutral tabletop, and on your next exhale, bring your right knee under your right hip. Toes together, knees out wide. Option to bring your torso, your upper body down towards your mat, keeping your hips up, or sending your hips back over your heels in a child's pose. Inhale up through tabletop. Feel free to stay here, or if it's in your practice today, exhale back in a downward facing dog. Inhale, look up to your fingertips, and exhale both knees down at the same time. Now, if you have a stack of books or a yoga block, bring it in between your pointer fingers. Now, we use this to bring the floor up to our hands and give us more space for our growing belly. Here, bring your right knee in line with your right hand, and on your next exhale, step your left foot forward. If you need to step it out and then heel toe it in, that's perfectly fine, perfectly normal and natural. On your next inhale, bring your forearm to your thigh and come to a tall kneeling position. At any time, you can drop your arms down to your hips. It's up to you. But with your back foot, really press into your mat, feeling a nice stretch in your right quad. Let go of that push, and on your next exhale, hug baby in as you lunge forward. Feeling now a nice stretch in your right hip flexor. Inhale, come back to a tall kneeling position, and exhale, hands down to the block. Exhale, bring that left foot back to meet the right, toes together, knees out wide, and spend a breath in child's pose. Inhale into tabletop, and exhale back into downward facing dog if it feels good. Inhale, look up to your fingers, and exhale, bring both knees down at the same time. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, hands come to your block, thumbs to touch. This time align the left knee with your left hand, and on your next exhale, step your right foot forward. Inhale up through your forearm to thigh, and press your left foot into your mat, really pressing the top of your back foot down into the mat. Let go of that push, hug your baby in on your exhale, and lunge forward. Inhale, standing tall. Exhale, hands come to the block, thumbs to touch. This time, inhale, curl your back toes under. Come up into a high lunge here. And on your next exhale, engage your core. Step your left foot to meet your right on either side of the block. Now, this is where you might want an additional block, a bolster. You might want to play with the height of the block that you have. But turn your toes out, maybe even go a little wider so your toes fall off of the mat, and let your hips fall down into Malasana or squat pose. Now, you can bring this block, blocks, bolster, whatever combination you have, under your hips, and just stay here for a few breaths. Now, we've been incorporating that Ujjayi breath, feeling the expansion in our rib cage, in our abdominals. Now I want you to also feel that breath go all the way down and out through the bottom of your pelvis. On your exhale, feel as though the bony parts of your pelvis are closing, and lift your pelvic floor as though you're stopping the flow of urine. Again, inhale, let everything expand, let that breath flow out through the bottom of your pelvis, and exhale, bring the bony parts of your pelvis together. Lift your pelvic floor as though you're stopping the flow of urine. Engage your core, corset those abdominal muscles around your baby, and close your rib cage. Do a few of those on your own. And on your next inhale, place your hands on your mat. Slowly lift your heels up so that you find yourself in a forward fold. On your next inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bring your hands to your knees or to your thighs and just stay here for a breath. We never want to come straight up, as it could potentially make us lightheaded. On your next inhale, take a deep breath in, lift, up, and lower. This is a great time to take a water break. We often take water breaks in prenatal yoga so that we stay hydrated. Dehydration can cause contractions, and we definitely don't want that. So please take a breath. Also, take this time to remove the blanket from your mat if you have placed it there for your knees. All right, Now when you're ready, step to the top of your mat. I have a block at one side of my mat and one at the other side. You'll see that we'll run through a flow where you potentially may need some support on each side. So feel free to do so if that's what you need. Again, a stack of books is a great replacement for a yoga block. All right, let's take a deep breath in, arms overhead. And exhale, hands come to hips. Inhale, lift your left leg, balance here for a moment, and then step it back into a high lunge. Bending your front leg, both toes face the front of your mat. Feel a nice stretch on the back hip flexor. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, turn your back foot out so that your toes are facing the long edge of your mat. Your front toes are still facing the front. And come into warrior two. Again, play with how deep of a lunge you want, but really stretch either side as though you're being pulled in opposite directions. Straighten your front leg and reach towards the front of your mat until you fall forward into a triangle pose. This is a great time to incorporate your block to bring that floor up to your hand. Option to look up, forward, or down. Bend your front knee. Come back in warrior two. And straighten your leg. Turn both toes towards the front of your mat. Okay. Turn your toes out to the corners of your mat. And on your next inhale, bend your knees, cross your arms over, and you want to land in a pose we call goddess pose. This is a really nice strengthening pose as well as opener. Just take a few breaths here. On your next exhale, bring your hands down to your thighs and just look over your right shoulder. Look over your left. Come back to neutral. And on your next inhale, straighten your legs. Turn your front toes towards the long edge of your mat and your back toes now towards the back of your mat. Coming into warrior two. Straighten your leg. Reach forward until you fall over in a triangle. This is where that other block may come in handy, bringing the floor up to your hand. Option to look up, forward, or down. Bend your back leg at this point. Come back into warrior two. And on your next inhale, turn your now back feet to meet your front toes so that we're in a high lunge, opposite of where we started. Hands come down to your hips. Kind of tiptoe your back feet forward. Lift your back leg and place it down next to your front. All right, one more time, we'll grab some water. We don't want to build up too much heat in our body either. So if any time that breathing in and out of your nose feels like you're sweating, you can't talk and hold a conversation with your breath, feel free to take a deep breath in and out through your mouth. Okay. Now, this is also a great time to reset. So coming back towards the top of your mat, bring those books, that block in between your big toes. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, hands come to the block. Exhale, step your right leg back. Lower down your back leg. And send your hips back over your heels so that your left leg is almost straight. Now, if you need to keep a slight bend, that's fine too. This is what we call half splits. I like to use my block to help me really stay up here. Some people may fold a little bit deeper. Again, listen to your body. Now lunge forward, bringing your block off of your mat, and heel toe your front foot so that your left foot is almost by your right hand. We want to come into a pigeon pose. So find what's comfortable in terms of bending your front leg so that your back leg is extended behind you, and you feel a really nice stretch in your glute muscles. If you have any piriformis pain or potentially sciatica, this is a great position to come into, great position to spend some time in, and a great position to do before bed at night. To come out of this, curl your back toes under and kind of tiptoe those toes forward so that you can lift yourself up and bring your front leg down into tabletop. Bring your block back in between your fingers. Inhale, hands come on top, thumbs to touch. This time, exhale and bring your right foot forward. Send your hips back over your heels, again using that block for stability, understanding that a bend in your front leg is perfectly fine as well. And move that block. Come forward, moving your right foot now over towards your left hand and letting your right knee fall down into a position that's comfortable. Extending your left leg behind you. So we're now in pigeon pose again. Now to get out of this, we're actually going to put our weight on our right hip and open up into a wide leg position here. Okay, now pre-baby, you maybe were able to do the splits pretty well. Tone it back a little bit. Bring it to maybe 80% or less of maybe where you were before baby, but allowing enough space here for your belly. Walk your hands forward until you're comfortable. Flex your feet. We want to feel some openness and some stretch on the inside of our legs here. Walk your feet back. Bring your feet together. Now, if this doesn't allow enough space in front for the baby, of course, allow yourself to sit a little bit further apart and just reach forward, grabbing onto your shins, your ankles, your feet, the bottom of your feet. You may find that you're not as flexible as you used to be, completely normal. You may also find that you have a lot of flexibility now. That's actually because we have a hormone called relaxin that loosens up our joints. So we don't want to go past the point that we could do before baby. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking, oh wow, I could never touch my toes before, don't touch your toes now because post-baby, we want all those ligaments to come back together. And if we overstretch them now, unfortunately they won't. All right, let go of that. Bring your legs over so that you're on your right hip. Lower down onto your right side. On your next inhale, open your top leg into like a clamshell. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This time grab for your left knee, your left shin, and pull it into your rib cage. This is a great hip opener, but also great for digestion. So if you feel like your digestion has slowed as your pregnancy goes on, this is a great move to come into. Now, option to roll onto your back and come into happy baby. I know that this doesn't feel good for everyone, so of course, if this does not feel good for you, do not come into it. Just roll onto your left side. But if you want to take a few rocks in happy baby, you can do so here. And then everyone roll onto their left side. Stacking your legs again. Sorry, I'm facing away from you. But just as we did on our right side, inhale, open your top leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, lift. Grab onto your knee or your shin, pull your right leg into your rib cage. And let those feet come back together. Slowly lower down that top leg. Spend a few minutes here just in Savasana, lying on your left side, returning your breathing to normal. Focusing how great it feels to move your body, to open your hips, being open to new possibilities, new adventures, everything that's on the horizon for you as a new parent. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. I'm just going to push myself up here to thank you for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me, really focusing on opening up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back soon. Thank you.